What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Real Reds, talking authentic football fan channel made in Manchester. And the latest breaking news coming out of Manchester United is that Lisandro Martinez has pulled out of the Argentinian national team due to a knock that he suffered at United on the weekend. We've also got bits on Omar Berrada speaking out about Amorim. We've got news on the work permit finally that's coming through. And we've also other kind of little bits about in terms of what coaches are coming and what kind of preparation they've been doing over the international break with Ruben Amorim, with the man himself. So we'll dive into all of that. First and foremost, smash the like of the video, subscribe to the channel if you are live with us right now. Sam, before we dive into any news, I just wanted to get a quick up on Talk of the Devils last night. How was it?
Yeah, it was good. Really, really fun. Sort of a nice sort of a chat about Ruben Amorim, some stuff about Eric Ten Hag, stuff that's not been on the podcast or in the articles and things like that, which was really interesting. Andy Mitten sort of spoke about the Garnacho incident as well, that he sort of briefly touched on in the podcast. So yeah, there was some really sort of interesting tidbits, really sort of nice stuff in there. And yeah, afterwards at the end there was a Q&A, and some of the questions were fucking hilarious. Andy Mitten going off on tangents about the Lazio ultras and being sat at a table with a massive sword in the front of it with two paramilitary guys, and yeah, all sorts of shenanigans. It was really, really fun. And then yeah, I got to speak to the lads afterwards. Ian, Andy, and Carl. Didn't get a chance to speak to Laurie, but yeah, I spoke to the rest of them. All really sound great show as well. So if you're in Belfast this evening, I hope you enjoy it and I hope you get to see. I'm sure, are they doing a show in Dublin as well? I think.
Yeah, I think they're doing a couple, aren't they?
So if you're in Dublin as well, so yeah, go check them out. It's well worth the show. Me and Nick went to the last one last year, and I encourage you, if you can go. It's really fun.
Yeah, they always put on a show, and I was gutted I couldn't go last night actually, because I genuinely really wanted to, but I was in work. So, yeah, nice to hear that. I suppose. What was Laurie doing? Was it the cocktail bar? Is that why you couldn't get a chat with him? Did he? People
were just mobbing him, like just grabbing hold of him and just hounding him and stuff like that.
It's one of those, isn't it?
Whereas Andy will talk to everybody. He was just wandering around, just coming up to people and just chatting. And he was like, I was literally stood waiting to talk to Carl, and Andy just walked around and was just like, "You're all right," and then just started having a chat with me and stuff. He was saying, there's a story he told me about, saying when he flew into Manchester for the Pauk game, he met a bunch of Pauk fans in the airport, and they were saying, "Oh, like, we're going to the United game," and he's like, "Do you want a lift?" And basically drove them to Old Trafford. It's like showing them Old Trafford and stuff. It's fantastic.
He is someone who's ingrained in the culture, isn't it? Like, quite the United culture. He is the man. Like, he will really, but he climbed Kilimanjaro the other day, didn't he? For the
Brian Robson,
charities. Yeah. He's been all around the world. He does proper journalism. Yeah. He's top tier, Andy Mitten. And I suppose that's why he's got so much kind of respect.
He's just released a book as well. United We Stand. So please do go check that out as well. Like, I think I've just ordered a copy. So I'm definitely going to read that. But yeah, go check that out as well, because I'm sure it's going to be full of stories, like great stories.
Absolutely. Right, let's talk about Manchester United a little bit then. I mentioned then Lisandro Martinez has pulled out the Argentinian national team due to a knock that he suffered at United. Instant feeling on this, Sam? Is it genuine, do you think? It literally doesn't strike me as the type of guy to do a fakey, is it? I don't know.
It seems to be a lot, doesn't it, during this international break? Like a lot of England players have pulled out. Haven't
they broke a record on that? By the way,
really?
Have you seen that?
No, I've not seen that.
In terms of how many people have pulled out.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, it's. I suppose it's like the truncation of seasons, isn't it? The amount of games that are being played, the internationals, the Club World Cups coming up at the end. We've just had a Euros. Basically, players are not getting a break and stuff like that, is it? So it's kind of. This is the result of it. Players are just going to be like, I need a break, and if I'm going to pull out or something, it's going to be an international friendly where it doesn't really matter.
It means fuck all. No one's
the
about it.
The risk of injury is why bother? Do you know what I mean? So I think Fergie used to do it all the time. Do you remember? He used to say to certain players, right, you've got a knock, remember, so you can't go to England or you can't go to Spain or something like that. He used to do that all the time. So I think. Again, maybe players are thinking the new manager's in. I don't want to risk injury. I want to make sure I'm in this squad and stuff like that. So I'm all for it, man. If it's a useless friendly, and for all the South American lads, they might have all the travel all the way over there. But like, it's just no point, man. Just no point. I wish Agate wasn't going either. Like, I just wish that they would have all pulled out, but can't have everything, can you? But yeah, I'm with it, man. I'm fine with it.
Genuinely, on international football, unless it's a World Cup or Euros, is anyone asked?
No.
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 I just can't. I don't know if it's just a me thing. I know you're similar to me as well when it comes to international football. I just can't get excited about it. There is nothing about it where I'm like, oh, I can't wait to watch England against Finland.
There's no
I
stakes.
usually should, because you think about the compilation of players that are playing together, like the amount of talent that we've got. You should be excited on your feet and be like, oh, but we don't, because you're playing fucking Finland in Helsinki. Do you know what I mean?
There's no stakes to it. You don't win anything. There's no, like, it's not like in the Premier League or the cup competition where it's like you get knocked out or you can advance to a semi-final. There's none of that. That's why tournament football, like international tournament football, is some of the best shit you'll ever see. Because everybody knows what's at stake. You're there and you're going to try and win it, and anybody can win it. And that's why they're there. And that's why you see, like, you amount of games at the Euros we saw that were thrillers. Do you remember that? They were like 4-3s and like fucking Georgia, like absolutely fantastic team.
Even the Qatar World Cup, I remember like Netherlands and Argentina was it. I think
Morocco had great games.
Morocco were unbelievable.
Like, do you know what I mean? That's what it's about. These international Nations League bullshit. Like, it's just
shit, isn't it?
It's
Proper
friendlies.
shit.
It's friendlies under another name. It doesn't mean anything. They don't.
Yeah.
The players clearly don't give a shit because they're pulling out.
Yeah.
And when they play, you can see they're like at 90%, aren't they? They're not fully going in for tackles. They're not properly committing themselves, because if they do and risk injury, then they don't play for the clubs and stuff. Let's just fucking do away with it. Like, let's just be done with it, man. I'm sick and tired of it.
You ask any players, they will say that. And I'm not saying this to name drop, but when Foden was at my work last week, I was speaking to him about England and Southgate and Tuchel and all this kind of situation. And even he was saying, was like, some of the times international things, you just like, you don't want to go.
No.
You so focused and drilled into club football. You're going off. You've got different patterns. You've got different demands from a different system, playing with loads of different players. And then you come back, and then it takes another few weeks then to get back up to like speed and rhythm. It's just annoying.
Do you know what as well? Like, they announced like what 20 odd man squads, and you play 2 games. So maybe you'll get like sort of 20 players at best that'll get to play. And then there's 4 or 5 guys who go and they don't play. So it's like, why have they wasted their time?
Yeah.
Like, just going, being in the camp, being around it, and not playing any minutes. It's like, why have I bothered? Like, why have I bothered to go? Like, I could have been at home, like recuperating, resting, seeing my family, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't see the point of it. International tournaments are the only. We should do it. International tournaments before World Cup, 2-3 months before. There should be the qualifications. Do all those games, and then you go into the World Cup. That's what it should be. That's it. Nothing else. I don't need to see Finland against Kazakhstan. I don't need to see any of that shit.
Because now you've got the extension of the Champions League and the Europa League. You've got that Club World Cup. You've got the Nations League. You've got the Euros. You've got the World Cup. It's just like, how many fucking things you want to do?
They want to do.
I just can't get on board with it. I really can't.
They're talking about putting the Champions League final in like America, aren't they? Or playing La Liga games in the USA.
They've invited Messi to the World Cup tournament. We've seen that. Invited him. Like, get the fuck.
Like, there's all this different stuff where they're just trying to milk more money out of the game, which means more games, which means it's just I'm tired of it, man. I'm really tired of it.
Yeah, not great. Let us know what your thoughts and feelings on that, and Lisandro Martinez as well. Brian saying, I'm good, stuck in work for another hour, so this is helping me through. I'm clearly busy. T2, we've all been there, Brian. We've all been there. T2DSO saying, all right, lads, I love Leacher, but he seems not quite 100%. Wouldn't surprise me if he was carrying something. Yeah, that knock against Leicester, he did seem a little bit...
He was in pain,
the right word?
He looked in pain, didn't he? Like, he was holding it for a while, and he was like...
But he always seems to pick up those kind of injuries, Lisandro.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if this is the nature of how he is, because he does give it all, and he's very physical in it, so maybe it's something to do with that. But do you know what? I want to throw a question to you, actually. Do you think... I know we love Leacher as a player, but do you think he'll be successful in this back 3 system? Back 5, what you want to call it?
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see who the middle one is. That's going to be the interesting bit, because I think De Ligt's probably the candidate for it. I think he's probably the guy, because he's not as quick as Yoro, and I don't think he plays as well under pressure as Leacher does, because Leacher's very good when he's under pressure. He can turn and he can move with the ball. So I think Yoro either side of De Ligt with Leacher. I think that's a system there. I think equally in the delete position, Harry Maguire could work there as well. I think he would be really effective in that position because he don't have to run, he don't have to be quick, he can just sit.
Johnny Evans, mate.
Johnny Evans, another one. So I think, depending on things, so I think Leach definitely works. And again, I don't know what the feasibility of this is because he's never fit. But Luke Shaw is a left centre back. That's a perfect fit there as well, isn't it? But again, injury wise, I don't think he's ever going to be at that point. But
well, he's available now. Would you believe it? He's available now.
Yeah.
Now Amorim's in. I'm not suggesting it. I'm just
no.
But,
but I'm surprised he's not gone with England. Actually, that is surprising.
Oh my god, the uproar.
Yeah. So yeah, again, there's another option there. So I think he'll fit in well. I think it definitely can work. It'll just be interesting to see what Amorim's combination is going to be, how it's going to work and stuff. He's from everything he's saying, he's going to do a back three. From everything he's said so far. So
the reason why I ask is I think about that game against Porto away, and Lisandro defending those wide channels at times. It did worry me a little bit, especially if it was one pacer up against him. All his other qualities I'm happy with. It's just pace and physicality at times. But I think we'll see. Let's wait and see.
You've got to make sure whoever your wing backs are, they're getting back when you're out of possession, and they're going to get back. Yeah. I've seen things about like a lopsided type sort of back five where one of them is a wing back and one of them is a full back.
Yeah, I've seen that. 4-4-2, doesn't it?
So I've seen that as well. So maybe then they can sort of become a back four at that point. So Leach pushes out to the left and whoever, or Yodo pushes out to the right, and then somebody comes in like Mazraoui. So yeah, it'll be interesting. There's just question marks in a minute, isn't it? We don't know until he sets up against Ipswich and see what's what. Like we won't know until that point. But yeah, there's a lot of questions. It's going to be fascinating anyway, tactically, what happens on that Ipswich game.
Yeah, we've got Christopher Humphreys saying Ryan Giggs used to pull out of Welsh internationals and play for United all the time. Brian, an Irish fan, international football's complete arse the whole time because we're not good enough to qualify for the major tournament. Just support the United players. And T2 saying a back three probably means centre backs covering less ground than they did understand. Tenag. Yeah, I get it. It makes sense.
You've got as well. You think about the two midfielders in front as well, providing further cover for those two centre backs either side. So say Leach is not pacey enough to sort of when he's going forward or something like that. Say you've got Ugarte or Casemiro, one of them's gone and one of them's sticking back, and Leach is pushing out. He can drop in to cover that space as well, so it gives time for Leach to come back. So you've got that. There's less like T2. There's less space for people to cover in that factor, rather than the massive gaps that we saw under Ten Hag that Casemiro was trying to failing to cover, and then they were just straight onto the defense where they had constantly backing up and just everything's in front of him, which is not what you want.
I'm excited to see how we line up against Ipswich, what he goes with, if he does just throw a Euro straight in there, or very, very interesting. But we've got time to kind of cook on that because we've got 2 weeks to discuss all this kind of stuff. But as well as us, Sam, Omar Berrada very excited about the arrival of Ruben Amorim, saying he believes that, he'll integrate into the rest of the structure so that we can be successful on the pitch. Why do you think they've gone down this route? If you're Ineos, why have they gone for him specifically?
I was listening when I was at Talking Devils last night. They were saying they spoke to him in the summer, but there were concerns about the back three system and the profile of players that they had and whether it would work or not. And also because he's inexperienced in terms of managerial things. He was, what was the team before Braga that he was at? I can't remember. Is it Cadapes?
Something like that.
Something like that. And he was 6 months there, and then he was the B team at Braga for 10 months, and then he was the first team manager at Braga for a year, and then a record release clause at the time from Sporting to pay out for him from Braga was a year at Sporting. Obviously, won the league and cups and stuff, and then they were worried, can he continue on that, or is it a one season thing? And obviously 13 games unbeaten. Yeah. Beating City and stuff, and that sort of reinforced their belief. And apparently it was after the Spurs game is when they started speaking to him, and they were like looking and sort of going like that. Apparently number one choice in the summer was Tuchel, but there was disagreements about things, and it wasn't as much about control as we thought it would be. It was about the fact that Eric Ten Hag had won the FA Cup and how would fans react to Tuchel coming in. Like Tuchel was worried about fan reaction if they sacked Ten Hag and he was coming in to replace him. So that's what he was worried about coming in. So maybe like everything shifted and Amorim, then they saw the success of Amorim, then they were like, he's working, he's beat City and stuff like that. Like, let's pull the trigger on it.
I'm just sat here as a fan. I'm like, I just don't want the positivity to just fizzle out really quick because everyone's really excited about this, and likewise, everyone was really excited about the summer, wasn't there? When you saw the players that were coming in, and then that just went to shit.
Yeah.
Not that the players is shit, but it's just like that whole excitement and the fan base being united again and all this kind of stuff. It just within a couple of weeks got absolutely shattered. So everything sounds good, everything looks good. I think the way he is presents himself as a person in terms of his characteristics, I'm a huge fan of. But as we know, United is a beast in it to control and it, it's almost like every manager goes into it and thinks, if I can be that guy, like from an egotistical point of view, if I can be just that one guy who turns him around, Mourinho's been there, Van Gaal's been there. If I can do it, I'll be held to really high esteem to get United back there. But he's got a good chance with his structure, hasn't he?
Yeah, like it's like you look at sort of dominant champions in the UFC, like Khabib, Nurmagomedov. The amount of guys who faced him, every guy who faced him must have thought in the back of their head, I can beat him. Yeah. I can be the guy to beat him, and nobody did. Like nobody did it. Yeah. So there's always going to be, like you said, that ego thing in the head where like I can be the guy to turn this around, and eventually somebody has to, right? Somebody has to. Like it can't just keep going on like this. Like at some point, whether that's now, whether that's 10 years from now, it has to eventually turn around. Liverpool, 30 years it took to turn it around, and eventually made them like an effective title thing. Arsenal were in the sort of woods, weren't they, for a long time till Arteta came and made them relevant again. So it has to happen at some point. I hope Amorim is the guy. I hope he's the one who's going to do it. But like you said, I think they did a sort of poll at Talk of Devils Live where they asked like who's like fully convinced that this is the right guy, and it was like 50-50 because people have been burned already by Ten Hag and other people are burned by it, so people are not as excited for it as maybe they should be.
The crazy thing is, it's not that much of a mountain to climb this season because it looked really bad when we was 14th, and obviously we're still, I think, 13th at the minute. But in actual fact, there's 4 points between third and us. You win a couple of games, the teams around you are definitely going to lose one. The way it's been,
Arsenal
look at Spurs
losing
at the moment.
City
Arsenal,
losing.
City, like everyone's losing at the moment. You just get 2 wins together, you can find yourself in third.
Yeah,
really quickly. Really quickly.
Nottingham Forest are in the top 4. Like,
yeah,
it's not like they strung a couple of wins together and they were third at one point.
Yeah. So he's just got to come in, and I think with the 2 games that we've got, I said this on the afternoon show today. We play Ipswich, we play Everton. You beat both of those teams. Arsenal are bound to drop points again because I think they've got another tough game. I can't remember who it was, but they've got another tough game coming up. You beat them. By the time you play Arsenal, it could be like a 6 point, or you could go above them by 3 points. That's how mad the Premier League is. I suppose that's why we love it. That's in it, but
that's what people looking at relegation. People like Wolves and Southampton and Ipswich and stuff like that, and then Ipswich and Southampton both got wins. There's like they could get a couple of wins and they're out of the relegation zone. And it's like that's all it takes this season. There's nobody, Liverpool aside, there's nobody really pulling away with it at the minute. So everything's up for grabs. Trust
Ipswich to get their first win of the season as well, right before they play us.
Yeah.
Just before you got that whole McKenna narrative coming back as well. So I'm looking forward to that game. If you are just joining on a live, because I appreciate there's quite a few who have just come through. We have been speaking about Lisandro Martinez being out of the Argentinian squad due to injury. We spoke about Omar Berrada speaking on Amorim very briefly, and now we're going to discuss the work permit situation. So a lot of people have been kind of chasing up this news. Is Amorim's work permit is going to take at least another 24 to 48 hours to process, so he'll be allowed to train the United players after this has been completed. So you think by Thursday probably he'll get to work with the players. But I was talking this afternoon, Sam, about the injured players, let's say, for example, who were there, who we can speak to, who are just coming back now. So in actual fact, he's going to be able to work with the likes of Tyrell Malacia, Luke Shaw, Mason Mount, Lenny Yoro, Kobe Mainu. Like, that's mad, isn't it? Bring all them players back into a squad.
Leacher as well. Like, Leacher's going to be there now. Yeah.
Going to be there. Obviously, Marcus is not going to be with England, is he? No. Rashford, there'll be a couple. Casemiro, I don't know if he's with Brazil or not.
Don't think so.
Oh. Yeah, you've actually got a good squad players to work with there, haven't you?
Yeah, like, I think, what is it? Delict has gone, Xerxes gone.
Yeah. Ugarte's gone.
Ugarte's gone. So, yeah, there's not that many who have gone. Dallo and Bruno, obviously, they'll be big.
I think they just need to do, like, just take a week off, them two in general. I mean, Bruno's been playing really, really well.
Yeah.
But I think Dallo, as of late, when you've watched him, I think there's a bit of fatigue there.
Switched off, hasn't he? He switched
started 44 games in a row.
And he played a World Cup, and he played, pretty much every game in the Euros. Like,
you know what I mean? We've got players back now. Put majority right back for a game. Put Martial or whoever left back and rest him for a game, for the love of God. Please, because you're going to kill the guy.
You saw Rude took him off in 2 of the games, didn't he? He substituted him in 2 of the games because maybe Rude realizes he's obviously knackered and stuff like that. So he made because he was having a bad time against he was the guy that he was facing up and he was just getting torn to pieces. Shit.
In European game or
no? It was Leicester, wasn't it? He was the guy.
Fatawi.
Yeah, he was had him on toast, didn't he? Just consistently. So like Rude was like, right, you come off and switch Mazraoui to right back and sort of switch things around. And it's like you could tell he's tired, man. Like I know they'd never admit it and know they'd be like, I could play every game, but you could tell, man, they're tired.
Yeah. Do you know in that game alone? Because I did the pros and cons for it after it. I think he won. It was 2 out of 12 ground duels he won against that winger.
Not good.
He got absolutely rinsed. And to be honest with you, I had never heard of that winger before in my life. I didn't even know he was a player before that day. And so there's some worry signs there. But I think he's got, like I said, he's got good players there to work with. You're always the one I'm looking at, Sam, and that I'm most excited about. Because we saw, we got a small sample size, didn't we? But from what you remember in pre-season, he looked decent, didn't he?
Yeah, quick, really good on the ball, confident lad, looked like every bit of the part, and it's just a shame that we've not been able to see more than, was it 1 game, 2 games? How many? I
feel like he played Rosenborg or something. Is that like the Danish?
And he played one game in the USA.
Arsenal, he played against because Højlund got injured in the same game as him, and then that was it. 3 months. You're like,
so it's just a shame. Man. But apparently, didn't the Athletic say they knew that he had a foot problem anyway? Like,
I think so.
Maybe it was always going to happen, and maybe it was good that it happened then and not halfway through the season when he played really well and then we lose him.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the sort of for the best of it. So yeah, I'm excited, man. I really want to see what this kid's got, and like, there's been a lot of hype around him. Obviously, people talk about the fee. Real Madrid were interested, so yeah, there's a lot of like sort of interest in him. So I'm really excited to see like him play, especially in a back 3 system. Like that's going to be really, really interesting.
T2 just said there's a lot of emphasis put on the outer centre backs to progress the ball. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on. I think Euro is a lot better on the ball than what people give him credit for. I think initial stages when we was doing the analysis on him, when you look at him at Lille playing Champions League football on a regular basis, dealing with the likes of Kylian Mbappe and these guys, a lot of people were looking at 1v1 duels or defending the channels, and rightfully so, because that's what he's good at. But on the ball, you even saw that in pre-season, switching play, like really comfortable on it. Sure, I think he made a couple of mistakes, but he had the recovery pace to get back and deal with that. I think he's going to be absolutely fine in that right-hand side. I think he's going to flourish, actually, and we're going to be like, because we all forgot about this kid.
Yeah.
He's been out for 3 months. He's been a wayside. They tried presenting the Dintley United as like a PR kind of thing, saying, it's probably better for him to get used to the area or what have you, blah, blah, blah. But he will be a starter in that team. I'm absolutely positive about it, 1,000,000%. Let's just to finish off, Sam, let's just do this. Because I did it again this afternoon, but I want to get your thoughts. How do you think Ruben Amorim, who will play where in his system? So you tell me what team you think he'll deploy with. And let's say everyone's fit.
Yeah, Onana's going to start, isn't he? Like, that's going to be...
Yeah,
he's goalie, and I think he's looked good this season. I think he's been one of the players that we can rely upon.
Most clean sheets in the league.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't think you can sort of slate him like last season. It's probably going to be Leacher, De Ligt, and Yoro. I think that'll be the back 3. I think you could probably see swaps there. Should Luke Shaw get fit, he could come in and do that. When when's fit, he could come in and play that central role. So I think you could see maybe see Lindelof play that where the Euro plays when we need to, like, for Europa League games or like lower league FA Cup games, because he's very capable on the ball. Lindelof,
Absolutely.
he's good on the ball, so he can play that role. The midfield, it's probably going to be Ugarte, Casemiro, or Ugarte and Kobe Manu, maybe. I think those two, those will work quite well. The front line is the tricky bit, isn't it? That's the really sort of tricky bit. Like, who do you play in the 10s? Like, who do you play in there? Do you do Bruno and Ahmad? Do you do Rashford and Garnacho behind a central striker? Do you do a Xerxes with Højlund up top? Like, that's the sort of tricky bit, isn't it? It's like, where do you sort of go with that? I think the wing backs at the minute, because of lack of options, if Luke Shaw can stay fit, I think he'll be the left one. And then I would put Mazraoui on the right, personally. Because I think Dalot has been out of form, but he's probably going to play Dalot as an exact Portuguese connection.
Do you know what I like, though? I like Mazraoui on the left as well.
Yeah, I do.
When he plays over there.
You
know, when he's pushing up and inverting.
But when Luke Shaw's fit, he's arguably one of the best left backs.
Yeah, he is.
In the world,
he is. And it's balanced as well, isn't it? When you talk about
so,
balance.
I think Mazraoui, and for me in that, and then, I would go Ahmad, Bruno, and then Højlund's your central striker. I think that'll be something. But again, because we've got options, I think we can switch things around. So you want to take Ahmad out, you can put Garnacho in behind there, or Rashford. You want to take Bruno out, you put Xerxes in there. Like, there's options there. So I think you can sort of switch stuff around. So, yeah, I like it, man. Again, I have to see it work in person. I have to see how it's going to work and stuff. It might be a disaster. Who knows? Mason Mount, there's another one behind the striker you could put as well. Like, there's another one if he stays fit. Again, question marks over his fitness, but again, he's another guy you could play right behind that striker. And he played that way for Chelsea. He played, and he can go out to the right, can't he? He played that way for England under Southgate. So there's another option for you.
I think the key word space, because there will be less space to kind of back and forth, and as static under Ten Hag, we know it was utter chaos. So when you have that platform and structure, I do feel like the injuries will disintegrate a little bit slightly. Hopefully. And you won't see as many. Well, praying, yeah. And like I said, you got loads of rotation there, so that's great. Just some news coming in. Malacia is set to feature for the under-21s tonight, so he'll play some minutes. He's just arrived at Huddersfield Town this evening, so yeah, we'll see how he gets on.
Is he starting?
I'm guessing so. Yeah, he hasn't played for 17 months.
That must feel weird, that mustn't it? Like, going onto a pitch after not played for nearly 2 years. Like, that must feel weird. I'm
happy for him, though. I hope he gets on well, and pray to God there's no setbacks.
Don't get injured.
And
he's
all
injured,
right,
please.
Yeah. But you'd imagine that's going to take him a good few weeks to get up to speed in it before he's even considered, to be fair. So, yeah, happy for him. That's a long time to be out. And hopefully comes back with a bang. Garnacho, Rashford must be worried. Can't see either of them at wing back, and they're better options for inside 10. I agree. I think Garnacho not so much, because I think he could do that wing back role because of how tenacious he is.
Yeah.
Rashford is the one I'm looking at, Sam, and I'm worried about.
Unless he puts him down the middle as a replacement for Højlund as a 9.
Would you?
But I wouldn't. But like, that's the only option I can think where you play him, because he's not good enough to play the wing back role, because he's not going to get back. No. He hasn't got the passing ability to be the 10 behind the striker. So the only option I could think, because he has played that number 9 role before, that's the only option I can think of.
Interesting times with Manchester United. Right, we are going to leave it at that, guys. Thank you so much, everyone who's tuned in. Please do hit that subscribe button. We're on 7,459, almost 2,500 off 10k, which is absolutely amazing. Check us out on socials, all the handles that you should know about already, but check us out on X, Instagram, which is popping off at the moment. Sam's doing a fantastic job over on there. And check us out on TikTok as well, for all your news reports and updates and stuff like, Malacia, for example, being in Huddersfield at the minute. You'll be updated by the minute. So turn on notification bell as well, so when we do go live, it'll drop down and you can just tap on it and come have a chat. So yeah, appreciate you all. Cheers, Sam. And yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow. See you in a bit.
Peace.